Welcome to ZP Productions, and today will be a review of audio equipment. This is the KBear Xuange BT15pro. This is a true wireless device adapter for IEMs. As you can see here, you can plug in your IEM nicely. It uses a 0.78mm connector, and it runs on BT 5.4. Now, I won't go into the specs because it really doesn't matter. The question is, how does this device work in real life? Is it good enough for your IEMs? And is it easy to use, right? That's quite a lot of questions. Now, this has been provided me from Keehifi. They have reached out to me about a month ago to ask whether I'm interested to review this. I'm very interested in reviewing such wireless device. In fact, I have the i5 here, and this has been with me for, I guess, since its launch. I love it a lot. The thing is, how good is this, right? This is very affordable. I believe it's about $35, and I'm interested to see its performance. I used it for about a month so far. Battery life wise, I will tell you it's pretty good. I charge it maybe about 2 or 3 times. Each time I use is about 15 minutes to 30 minutes for the purpose of really traveling around, going to work. Very short burst of usage, but over a month, I don't really remember how many times I charged this, but it's quite little. Definitely no more than 4 times. That's the kind of numbers I'm giving. Now, this device itself, it's overall a very small device. If I was to put next to the i5, this is tiny, really, really tiny. And that's partially because of how the layout is like. So you will notice that the IEMs are bent inwards for this versus the IEM are bent outwards for this. There are various configurations, but this is one of the most compact design. You notice there's really not much space. But the good thing is that this is really, really deep. This hole in the center, you can see here, is actually really deep compared to the hole here. So you can actually put pretty big IEMs. I have tried even like this device into here, no issues. Now, the only downside to this IEM when it comes to holding your IEM inside the box is that firstly, there's no lining below, there's no lining on top. And when you do put your IEMs together, they do get quite close to each other. Now, if you are using expensive IEMs, those that cost like this kind, 3,000, 4,000, I'm not too sure you are really comfortable with IEMs touching each other like this. And if I was to shake it, you can hear the IEMs bouncing around, and actually the bigger IEMs, you can hear them knocking on each other. So that may give you a bit of discomfort in terms of storing your expensive IEMs in this way. Then again, this is such an affordable device. I'm not sure whether someone who's using like a top-of-the-line IEM would like to use an adapter at $35. But I can tell you that it kind of worked pretty well, and I have used something like 64 Audio's Solo with it. So this is my 64 Audio Solo. The 64 Audio Solo here. I also have used my IEMs on this device. I have used many of them. They run pretty well and sound pretty good. Sound quality, I'll talk about it a little bit later. But let's talk about the usage. Now, wearing this is very simple, right? You just pull it out and you wear it. In fact, let me show you a photo of me wearing it. This is one of the most comfortable true wireless device adapters because this thing here is very nice, very slim, and this thing here is very small. So you can actually wear it very easily compared to this device. In fact, this is way more secure than this device ever was. So I do enjoy utilizing this wireless adapter as a day-to-day device because it really doesn't irritate me. And in fact, most of the time I just forget that I'm wearing a wireless device. It's really, really comfortable, really, really good. And because this is such a small device, there is almost no weight on the ear, so you don't really feel there's any strain or any form of pressure or anything. It is a really nicely fitted device, and I can tell you very confidently you can walk around with this, it won't drop out from your ears itself. Now, one of the good things of this device is that it starts connecting the moment you open the case. So notice that once I open the case, if you have heard the video a little bit more, in fact, let me demonstrate to you. Once I open the case, you can hear it start to connect. So this is the good thing on this device. It connects the moment the case is open, rather than this device here, which only connects when you pull it out. The advantage is that it's a more seamless experience. So when you actually move this, open up the case, it starts connecting. By the time you put it on your ear, you can play music perfectly fine. Unless you wear it super quickly, more than not, it is ready the moment you put both of them on your ears. At most, you hear the activation sound and what's not. But it is very fast, connects very quickly, and overall a very seamless experience compared to, you know, something like this or older devices, which when you pull it out, then it starts connecting, while this connects and pairs the moment the case is open. Really nice. And similarly, when you put back the case, right, it doesn't automatically disconnect immediately. It only disconnects when you close the case. But the good thing is that I have never failed to connect and disconnect the device itself. Unlike this guy here who occasionally fails me, maybe once every, like, I don't know, 5-6 times. It literally fails me that I have to put back the device into the case and take it out again. The KBear BT15pro has never failed in terms of connectivity. And it always never failed to charge either. The whole magnetic part of things are really good, fits nicely, never had any issues. Overall, if you ask me in terms of day-to-day usage, this is way better than the i5. It's more comfortable to wear, it's lighter, it connects quicker. The case opening and auto pairing is fantastic. Putting it back in and never failed to connect in the last whole month was top-notch. Really, in terms of usage, the KBear here is superior to me compared to the i5. Now, there are some things, however, that are not so great when it comes to, you know, putting things on. So let me show you the connectors. In fact, this connector here. So if you notice this connector here, let me zoom in a bit more. So this connector here is a 2-pin 0.78 millimeters. This looks like a square mount. So in certain IEMs, you will actually need this because some IEM have recessed mount that this can go in. So in fact, let me show you the one that's connected to my i5 now. Now this is a Noble IEM, right? And they do have a slightly recessed mount like this. Well, now this device here don't quite fit nicely into it. If you notice that if I plug it in, it doesn't quite fit nicely, you know, it's at the edge and it does plug out quite easily. So even though it has a square mount so that it can fit into recessed slots, it is not quite universal, at least not with Noble IEMs like this. But I did try with my Aeta and some other IEMs, it's fine, just not with Nobles. So just to note that, you know, when it comes to connectivity itself, it sucks if your IEM was to drop on the floor just because you pull it out of the case. So make sure that your IEMs fit snugly, because if it fits snugly like this, you know, it really doesn't fall out of the mount. I've tried it for one whole month, it's really, really tight. But, you know, if you have some recessed mount like this, just be careful. Now, that is for general usage. In fact, plugging in and everything is pretty much it. I really don't have any complaints when it comes to usage. As I said, so far, there's only two. One is the mount here. Just be careful making sure it's snug. If not, it drops out. Because the square mount may not fit into the recessed mount of your IEM. The other thing is this cavity here. If your IEMs are a bit big and if they are expensive, I'm not too sure whether you are comfortable with the IEMs knocking on each other. And of course, there's no felt lining. So knocking on the case is also another thing that you may feel comfortable or not. Really up to you. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is sound quality. Now, connecting is no issue. Utilizing is no issue. What about sound quality? If I was to use this IEM adapter alone like this, for day-to-day, I have no complaints. It sounds okay. It sounds good. It still carries most of whatever the IEM sound signature is. If I do not compare, I probably won't know the difference. It is really close. However, that said, if I was to compare to my i5 here, right, there is a sound difference. In fact, if I connect to any very high-end Bluetooth kind of a connection, there is a sound difference. And the difference is in the high end. It feels like there is a roll-off at the higher frequencies. Now, to be fair, I'm using an iPhone, but they did say that they support AAC. But that being said, this roll-off the high end gives me this kind of feeling like Bluetooth connectivity with SBC or some lower codecs, that kind of feeling. I'm not too sure because I didn't measure it, but I'm very sure that when you hear this side by side, you will hear that roll off on the high end. There is reminiscence of a lower, or I say poorer compression type, It's just rolling off the high end of the frequency, which is kind of sad if you ask me. But once again, that's only if you compare with the i5, because this is a very minor thing, and it also depends on you how sensitive you are to high end. If you are not that sensitive to high end, or don't quite like high end as much, it may not matter to you. And not only that, if you don't compare, it also may not matter to you. And if you are using a bassy IEM, it also may not compare. It may not matter to you. That's what I really mean. Sound quality alone is pretty good, but when you start comparing, that's where there is some downside, mainly in the high ends. Now, that is sound quality for listening to music. How about sound quality when you receive a call? I mean, that's not its main purpose in life, but occasionally somebody will call you halfway and you may want to receive a call. How does it sound like? In fact, let me show you guys a recording of the sound. This is a voice recording of the KBear Xuange BT15pro. I believe you have heard the recording of the sound, and I would say it's hollow, it's okay. For communication purpose, when you're listening to music, so be it, no issues there. Now, the last thing I really was concerned is latency. Now, for my i5, the latency is almost non-existent. It's like 1 frame or lesser. For this one, they claim the latency to be about 80 millisecond, which sounds little, but it's actually quite a lot. In a normal video, if you're running 30 frames per second, each frame is about 33 milliseconds. So with this, you lose about 2 frames. And based on my experience of watching YouTube videos, because I don't quite play games much these days, I do feel that it is about a frame or two, based on my experience editing videos and stuff, it's about a frame or two behind what you see. Which does mean that if you are playing slower games, I think it's fine. If you're watching video, it's probably okay. But if you're playing anything that is more high speed, or you really the type that cannot take some slight desync between video and audio, you will notice it in these earphones. So if you ask me, this earphone is much better off listening to music. But if you want to watch video, it's okay as long as it's not some really fast 60 FPS video. Because if it's 60 FPS, this guy will be losing 3 to 4 frames before the sound actually happens, which can be quite desync and irritating at times. But if not, I think it'll be fine listening to music, watching general videos. I have watched news, listened to Veritasium, the kind of stuff, and I'm perfectly okay with it. So don't worry too much of the latency unless you are playing like Twitch response type of game, which probably isn't that great on mobile device anyway. So yeah, this is my review of the KBear BT15pro. I'm pretty sure I covered most aspect of it. There's no application on this, at least I tried to search. So I don't believe there is an application, so there's no section for it. But when it comes to general usage, I think this is top notch. In terms of size, it's really good. In terms of comfort, it's fantastic. Storage wise, just be careful, because if your IEMs are very expensive, I'm not sure how comfortable you are when they are touching each other like this and shaking. And fitting wise, it fits most IEMs very well. except my noble IEMs. So just take a look at the connector before you plug it in, make sure it's snug. And then when it comes to usage, the connectivity is great. I love how fast it syncs. It's really nice, really quick, and it never breaks before when I was utilizing it the whole month. And for sound quality, as a standalone, it sounds great. There is some loss in the high ends, which you will notice only if you compare. If you don't compare, it's perfectly fine. Depends on your preference. This may be okay or maybe a deal breaker, really depending on you. But to me, it's good enough for me to use every day for the last 1 month. So I will tell you that, it probably doesn't matter. I'm pretty picky with sound. And lastly, when it comes to sound quality, when it comes to the microphones, I'll say it's okay for communications. It's not that great. But it's okay. Just speaking to it is fine. And then lastly, on latency, a slight lag. I do think that this is fantastic for $35 earphones. I think this is way better than any adapter I experienced in the past. There's also one more thing I didn't cover is the volume. The volume of this device is pretty good too. So coupled with a decent battery life, which I talked about at the start, I think this is a great device for $35. Honest opinion. $35, it sounds great, it works great. Most people will be very happy with it. And if you buy it, I think you will be happy with it. It can power any IEMs. I mean, I have utilized IEMs from $50, $30, all the way to $4,000. So, I mean, it's a personal thing, what you prefer. But I can tell you that this guy worked really well. And that's about it for today. I hope you enjoy my review of the KBear Xuange BT15pro. Overall, a very nice device. Some minor downsides, but overall, if you ask me for its price point, general sound quality, and great usage, I think it is kind of worth it. And that's about it. I'll see you guys again. Bye-bye.